Ryan and Jordan went. I was not able to go. I could not get off work that day. Plus, I wasn't invited. But
I was about to say we weren't invited either.
But
thanks a lot.
Hello, and welcome everyone to episode 231 of The Mashup, the best bourbon conversation you are going to hear all week long. We're your hosts, Anthony, Steven, and Kenny. Hello, guys.
Hola.
Hello, the best.
And
the best bourbon conversation you're going to hear all week long. Hi, guys.
hola.
Hola, nice to be with you.
Are we a
Here we go. Here we go.
Let's go.
All right. So the other day, my wife was on this kick, and she said she wanted a new frame TV. You know what the frame TV is? The one like Kenny has in his basement here. Mm-hmm. And so this is a sore spot because Kenny's looking at me right now with these eyes like he wants to kill me because we talk about the fact that Kenny sells appliances.
Oh, he does?
He does.
Okay.
And guess who didn't buy his TV from Kenny?
Kenny, I don't know what to say.
Okay. So wait a minute here. Listen.
I mean, the amount of sadness coming over me is overwhelming.
Yeah, and I might end up with a boot in my head before I leave here tonight.
Those Kenny can eyes, boy.
He went to Best Buy, I bet, didn't he?
He did.
He had Geek Squad install it.
Yeah, no.
He had a geek install it.
Geek,
for sure.
Yeah, definitely a geek installing it myself. But what happened is I asked him, I said, do you guys have the frame TV? He said, we're not carrying certain frames right now because whatever.
Yeah, we're just not doing Samsung right now.
Not doing Samsung. And there's really no other options except for some of the cheaper ones, right?
Right.
So that wasn't something they're carrying, but there was a 55 or something like that he thought that they had. So my wife's supposed to order the 65. She orders the 55. I go to Best Buy to pick it up, and I'm like, this is the right TV. And then she's like, well, you know what? It's a smaller one anyway. I'm like, oh, God. I'm like, now Kenny's really going to kill me because I could have bought the 55 for Kenny. Right?
I only had a 50.
50. Okay, only 50. So we still did okay.
Yeah,
all right, so we're still okay.
You have my permission on that.
All right. So the thing is...
If you bought the Samsung.
No, I didn't buy Samsung.
That's when you have my permission.
Yeah, I bought... What did I buy? I bought the Chinese...
TLC.
Did I buy TLC?
TCL.
TCL. Yeah, I bought TCL. The Chinese laser. I think that's what TCL
Left
stands
eye.
for. Left eye. TLC. Anyway, so this is going on too long already, but I have to say, like a moron, I forgot the first rule of Tony Lampero's TV installation or appliance installation, which is you never use the hardware that they give you to install anything. Now, I say the Tony Lamperos rule because I'm speaking about my father, right? The many lessons that he taught me, one of them was it's always the tools. You got to have the right tools.
Right.
But he always say, like, trash the hardware. So I'm looking at the hardware, and I'm like, you know what? This doesn't look bad. I sent Kenny a picture, and I'm like, what do you think of this? He's like, well, I guess with that many, it'd be okay. So I drill all the holes. I go to put the mount up. I stick the first screw into the wall, which is going into like the
starts just spinning.
The piece, just starts spinning. And I'm like, oh, good God. I'm like, this is that cheap that these mounts were like such hard plastic that there was no getting through them. So I was like, all right, I got to go to the store like right now. So I called Kenny. He gave me some advice on some anchors. I threw some anchors up in there, pulled them against the drywall, hung the TV. Much success.
Boom.
Yeah, it was
What
really
room
nice.
is this in?
This is in our bedroom.
Okay.
Yeah, so I get it all hooked up, and then at the end of the night, it's funny. My wife's like, you didn't have to do that. Like, you didn't have to put it up today. I'm like, you just be happy. Right? And so then today, I hung a fixture.
Oh.
Same damn thing, right? The hardware that the fixture came with was terrible. Yeah, and so I had to put my own anchors up and stuff, but I figured it out. But I've been a man on a mission lately installing things in my house, which is not really something that I'm usually doing. I mean, do you guys do your own stuff in your house? I mean, I know you do with TVs and stuff like that all the time.
Yeah, I did some closet work today, actually.
Closet work?
Yeah.
Do you care to elaborate, sir?
It's kind of like taking care of your delivery drivers, but no.
Jesus.
No, I did. I moved up where the hangar with the bar is.
Yeah.
I actually moved the one from the center up high, then installed a second one down low, put a new shelf in both closets. So
you're handy.
We have more room like that now. So
well, you're handy, and I know Steven's handy because he did buy an appliance from you.
Yeah.
And instead of getting, now see, this is where we go now. Gives you an idea of the personality of the three of us. I have a hard time mounting a TV and hanging a fixture, but I do it, right? Kenny's doing home improvement stuff. Steven, what did you do, sir? You installed your own freaking dishwasher. Who does that?
I just took it apart and put it back together.
I took it apart. I just remember, man, when you did that, that was what, back around the holidays? Or that before that? That was in the summer, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was in the early fall.
Oh my God, dude. That was so funny. I was like, I would never, ever think of installing my own dishwasher. In fact, I did buy my dishwasher from Kenny, and I had somebody else install it. His people.
I put in 2 or 3 dishwashers, and after I put in 2 or 3, I don't put in anymore.
Really?
Just because, like, for me, it'll take me an hour and a half to do what they do in 30 minutes. So
Yeah.
it was like, it's better spent.
How long did it take you to install your dishwasher?
Oh, more than that.
Be honest.
And it ended up being like a hair crooked.
4 hours later.
Yeah. But at that point, I just didn't care.
Yeah.
It's in. It's screwed down.
And a hair crooked, no one's going to see that. Nobody comes in your house
No.
and studies your dishwasher.
No.
I mean, at least not in my house.
I do. I study everybody's appliances when they go in their house.
Kenny comes and inspects your appliances.
I'm going to put a blanket over it next time he comes over.
Oh, man. Well, gentlemen, we have the time recording. We haven't been there yet, but what do we got coming up here? The three of us are going to be.
Yeah, so we are recording before we head to Bluegrass Distillers to do a pick with Kentucky Senator.
There you go.
So when this episode airs, we will have already done the pick, but we don't have anything to talk about yet as far as experiences or anything. But I'm excited for it, man. I'm looking forward.
Yeah, so this is actually going to be something where me, Steven, Kenny, I think Ryan is going to be there. Is there anybody?
Shannon's coming.
Shannon will be there. And it's, if I understand it correctly, it's Kentucky Senator, but I think it's for
J-Hob, I believe.
Justin's House of Bourbon.
Yeah,
so
I believe, I'm not sure who all from J-Hob's going to be there.
Yeah, so that'll be a really good, and if we end up picking a great barrel, we will tell you all about it and how to purchase it, right? Because even though it won't be ours, we'll be part of the pick team, and of course we love J-Hob and Bourbon Outfitter, so that'll be fun. You get to see my buddy Damon.
Yeah, it was a
Damon
great opportunity because they were sitting here not too long ago.
That's not it's been that was back in
trying
the
some
fall.
of that was it a 9-year product,
right? Yeah,
and it was pretty tasty, and now here we are going to do a pick for J-Hob with them.
Right. I'm hoping it'll be some stuff that's like 9-10 years old again. That'll be great.
Yeah.
But we don't know. We have no idea till we get there, but we're looking forward to talking about that on a future episode. And the last thing I wanted to bring up, and probably most importantly, we were so busy doing Best of Blinds and other things and just trying to keep up with life and recording that we really didn't address the large elephant that is in the bourbon industry
That everybody's talking about.
that literally everybody's talking about. There's been roundtables on it. There's been articles. But kind of what set it off was the first thing was Brown-Forman closing their Coopers, right? They just closed it.
Yeah.
What was that, 200 jobs?
Yeah, 200 jobs, and that kind of sent the first ripple effect. Then there's other things that went on with companies saying they're going to cut back. And then the Wall Street Journal, I don't even know who authored the article, but we'll just say the Wall Street Journal, had an article called the Bourbon, what was it called? It's like the Bourbon Boom's
America's
over.
bourbon boom is over.
And it says, now the hangover is here. Such a catchy title. But the gist of it was this, and I'm wondering what you guys think. They basically said that in 2023, sales fell 1.2%, and the reason why that was significant for bourbon is because the prior 2 decades, right, going all the way back to 2002, there had been nothing but growth, positive growth. And now, apparently, Kentucky distillers are making and producing 3 times more than what people are buying. And so that's what happened prior to the last time there was what they call a glut. And then there were other things in the article, tariffs. They were talking about the fact that the Surgeon General came out on the way out the door and said, alcohol causes cancer, so you should be worried about that. Cannabis is becoming more popular and more legal in a lot of places. And then, of course, they talk about the fact that the pandemic was a time where a lot of people were sitting around with nothing to do, with a lot of cash, right? They weren't traveling. They weren't doing anything else. And so people invested a lot and bought a lot of bourbon. And it's not that they're not drinking anymore. It's just they're trying to catch up and consume some of those bottles that they bought. So that's kind of like the perfect storm to just the article. But I've thought a lot about this, but I wonder what you guys are thinking, because we got a podcast, obviously. People think, that we have some inside information and some expertise. So presumably you both have things to say.
Well, I mean, the first sign that it might be a bust
Right.
is that what has Buffalo Trace been putting out recently?
Oh, man. The fact that you brought that up. So last week, Buffalo Trace...
I think the last couple of times,
last
right?
couple weeks, they've been putting out a lot of stuff, but they handed out... This is what I was confused about. And we can speculate on this for a second because, Kenny, I didn't tell you this, and I don't think I told you this either, Steve. And I think I only told Josh this, our listener in Georgetown, our buddy Josh. The Thomas Handy, they handed out Thomas Handy last Friday or something like that. I think it was. But the Thomas Handy that they were handing out to people at the gift shop and they were buying was from 2019.
Wow.
The proof on it was 2019 proof, I believe. I could be wrong about that. And so the speculation, but the thing is with Handy, there's been some where there's two proofs that are the same. So it could have just been a misconception. But I thought to myself, are they holding product, or maybe is this product that never got distributed via RNDC? Maybe that's the case. Now, it's purely speculative. Can't say that. But if it's old product, like all the single oak project they're putting out, CYPB.
They put out Cured Oak.
They put out E.H. Taylor Cured Oak.
$2,500 bottle.
Exactly. And so that's a really good point, man. So BT is just putting this stuff out. And the way that works, in case anybody's interested, is once you buy one of those limited bottles, you cannot buy another one for another 90 days. So, like, I got a CYPB the day that I picked at Buffalo Trace. But I couldn't get it. I couldn't have went got a Handy if I wanted. I mean, that sounds weird.
Well, you went to Jackson's, though.
Come on down.
I mean, I'm just saying.
There you go. But yeah, that's a good point about BT just putting out a bunch of product at the gift shop. That signals that, putting out Rock Hill Farms, they're putting out all kinds of stuff up there.
Yeah, it used to be the basic. I mean, you had Eagle Rare, Blanton's, E.H. Taylor, and Weller Special Reserve. Right. And over the last 6 months, they've been put out just all kinds of more allocated special bottles.
Yeah, Jason Hale told me that he was up there the one day. He got one of the experimental collection ones that they were putting out. And he said that the bottle of the day was Eagle Rare. He was there in the afternoon at like 3 o'clock, and the shelves were still full.
Wow.
He said there were people walking around the gift shop that didn't have an Eagle Rare in their hand that weren't buying one, which is pretty significant if you ask me. I mean, unless they were all in jail. Well, they could all have been in jail.
I thought, and I think they've even removed jail for a lot of that stuff. So, like...
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So they'll tell you, like, it used to be like one every 90 days, whether it was Weller Special Reserve, Eagle Rare, whatever. Now that when you're there buying, they'll tell you it's jail-free.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Oh, really?
So today, I think, or yesterday, was like Blanton's, but it did count towards jail.
Okay.
But then they've had other days where Blanton's is not towards jail and stuff like that.
Right.
So they're just... I mean, once again, they are just the market manipulators of the best. That's why their actual secondary market carries so good on everything they do.
Right.
But, man, it's lots of unwrap in that article. Just to simplify it, though, too, no matter what happens here in the next, 6 months, over the last, year up to the next year.
Right.
To me, that's still just more of a correction from COVID. So I wouldn't say it's busted by any means.
Right.
I mean, but it took such a huge jump during COVID that was not sustainable and should not have been there.
I agree.
So that is where a lot of this just kind of a correction from that, I would think.
Right. I mean, if you think about it, like bourbon, like a stock market, we all pay pretty close. I mean, I know we do, and I know you have at times paid close attention to the secondary market, but you just have to look at that. During COVID, I know it's always supply and demand, but there were new people coming to the market, like driving the prices of things up so much. Like Weller 12 hit all the way to $300 a bottle during the COVID. It's down to what, $160 now, $175 you can get a bottle. And so it was only ever, it still is a retail bottle of $50-$60, even cheaper, I think, in some places.
Yeah.
But now it's just a little bit more plentiful, and I don't know if people got enough or they bought 12 of them and don't need them anymore, but yeah, 12 other 12s.
I'm still looking.
Steven's still looking.
I mean, even 2 years ago when things started cooling off a little bit on the secondary side, we'd have people talk and people would ask, and I would give my opinion on that stuff. And a lot of it was, at least on secondary market style, COVID shut down sports.
Right.
Gamblers are going to gamble.
That's true.
I mean, so if you look at what we had for the bourbon scene, you had your local secondary.
Right.
Then you had, national secondary.
Fireballs.
You had local fireball groups.
Right.
Then you had national fireball groups.
Right.
And a lot of those gamblers just went from gambling on sports to razzing and filling bottles.
That's true.
So the fact that, let's just use Rock Hill Farm, and let's say it was, $400 bottle in the Raz group, that they filled it all the time. No one took the bottle. They're just gambling for the cash.
That's true.
Yeah.
And but those national Raz groups set the local Raz groups prices, and that raised the national secondary and the local secondary and all that. So now that everything went, a lot of the gamblers went back to sports. A lot of the Razes fell back down a lot.
Right.
So then that kind of corrected a little bit on some of the pricing, and then now there's definitely, man, there's way more coming to market than what people seem to be drinking. Just like with MGP, I mean, I don't really know what the outcome of that lawsuit is, but they got sued because it's kind of misleading on how good they were still doing to their investors. So I'm not sure where that's at right now.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure either. But when you mention pricing, I think it would be we'd have to just mention as well too that like all prices of everything went up. It's almost like retailers and the distilleries thought, okay, I'm sick of this money going in somebody else's pocket.
Yep.
I'm going to just make the price of my product whatever, set it close to what the secondary is. I mean, the things that I can point to, and I'm not calling out Wild Turkey. We love their products. But Turkey products took such a precipitous rise, right? I mean, even if you went to the distillery like we did the one day and got the 15-year when it released, it was $320, I think, after tax. Is that right? Or was it more than that?
It might have been more.
No, it was 300, I think. I think it was 300, 320 bucks. Anywhere. Somewhere in there. I can't
They were
remember
selling
anymore.
500.
Yeah, now they're selling 500. You think to yourself, like, if that bottle had released at 150, would it be a $500 bottle on secondary? I don't know. Guess it just depends. But the distilleries definitely have increased prices. And it's funny, Buffalo Trace has an increased price on things across the board, but they have increased the price of Blanton's. Blanton's was always a bottle you could get for $60, and then it went for about 100 during the pandemic. Then it kind of cooled to 90. Now the retail on it's like damn near $80, isn't it? Yeah. So it's like all that stuff kind of took it out of it too, because sometimes you get people that aren't really collecting because they like bourbon. They're collecting it because it's like any other hobby. They're collecting, buying, selling, right? And so when you take that element out, it happened with shoes. I mentioned it in a previous podcast. I think it kind of helps it hurts the commodity a little bit. You know what I mean? It hurts when you got to have a strong. I think sometimes you have to have a strong secondary market to have the kind of buzz around certain products. But that's just me. Yeah. But the other stuff I don't know anything about. I mean, cannabis and all that other whatnot. I do have to say this though, because it's completely anonymous. I'm not going to out this person, but I'm in other groups like collecting groups, and so I had bought a wrestling belt in a collector group, and I was messaging back and forth with a guy, and I told him, I don't know how he was talking about hobbies and things. I told him about a bourbon podcast. I sent him the link, this and that, and he said, I used to love whiskey. He said, but now I look forward to my gummy at night. That's what he said. He said, yeah, because I'm getting older now. He said, I don't want to have a hangover, nothing like that. He said, and I look forward to that. And I was like, that's cool. I'm like thinking to myself, he's probably like a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
So that stuff can't be ignored. But I don't know, man. I don't think we're at a bust. I hope we're not at a bust.
No, not at a bust. Part of it is just a big correction from where COVID made it blow up way faster, bigger than what it should have, quicker. And then also this price of glass in general went up, cost of this went up, the shipping went up, blah, blah, blah. And then, like you said, man, the actual distillers, they're trying to find that, just keep raising retail. Right. So you kind of eliminate secondary. But then they lose that mystique of their product, and you just see it, and you're like, yeah, it'll always be there.
Right.
There's no buzz around it anymore.
Yeah, but you looking forward for Pappies to be on them?
Are you hoping?
Yeah,
and then
they're not going to be. Those will never be on the shelf.
And then something that like we've experienced with our blinds last year, and then tons of our episodes, all of last year, is there's just a lot of less than average or mediocre whiskey.
Right.
That's literally double the price it should be.
Oh yeah.
There's just there's a lot of stuff that's just not good.
Right.
Like it's truly not good, or it's just okay, but they're wanting premium price.
This would be taken as a diss, and I don't mean it like that, but like a brand that I absolutely loved when they came on the scene just for the stuff that they were putting out. And I was right there, front and center, is Blue Run, right? And there came a point in time with Blue Run where I said, how many times can I keep spending $75, $80, $90, $100 on the regular stuff?
Yeah. Right.
And every special release was $200 plus, $200, $300. And it did just kind of hit a wall for me because the more I bought, the less, I guess, I don't want to say important, because I still think they're a really important whiskey company. It can still do great things. But it just kind of hit a point where I went from being a fan to going, I can't keep up with this anymore. There's just too much other stuff out there that I would want. I kind of use them as a poster child because they sold like some other companies sold. And they did it.
They're very glad they sold.
Tremendous job. It's just that, like, I mean, I hate to say they forgot about those kind of brands, but I mean, we'll see what this next year or 2 or 3 brings with what's going to happen with brands, right? I mean, that's kind of where we're going with this.
And that's so if you think about the legacy brands,
right? And
then even though they're in the craft, they kind of I guess they're considered
macaroni and cheese
craft. Not no more. Better make it with some healthy cheese. You know what I'm saying? But
small plates.
Small. Not anymore for me. I'm cut off. Go ahead. Sorry, Kenny.
But no, like with New Riff,
right?
But they just became all 50 states. But I think they're still kind of considered craft, right?
Yeah.
Ben Holiday. So if you got some people that it's their own distillate, they have a really high ceiling still as well.
Right.
It's a lot of the smaller NDPs, man. I mean, I can't imagine how many are going to go out of business this year.
Yeah.
Because it's not just the quote unquote market, the this or that. They created their own NDP, just seeing how things were booming, and they're trying to sell bottles or whiskey that's probably a $60 caliber for $130 because they put like a little story behind it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it stinks anybody goes out of business, but at the same point, they probably shouldn't have been there to begin with. But there's no telling how many are going to go out, because if you walk in a Total Wine, walk in a liquor barn, how many hundreds of different bottles, you have zero care to even go look or read the label or go buy, you know?
It'll be interesting to see who, comes from the smoke of all this. Yeah. And who, that brand was actually good, it's there, versus, that brand was good, but it's gone.
Right.
And this crap brand is still here.
Yeah.
That's what we were wondering, too, about Willet, man. And Willet, great history, great heritage, great everything, but they are way too expensive for the caliber of product they're putting out.
Right.
So I just wonder if 2025, if they'll have to rein it back in a little bit as well, or if they will do such a limited releases that they might be able to keep their prices up. Because just like that rye we had,
yep.
I mean, someone posted the other day, there's a rye similar to that one. Right. Might have been at Liquor Barn or somewhere, and it just sat. I'm like, yeah, it's going to sit. This thing should be $120.
Right.
It's over double. It's what, $350?
Yep. As much as I liked it, and we talked about it that day, I mean, it is a little much. And think about where Willet was at with that $100 per year thing. That was pretty standard for them, and then they all come crashing down. And in this market, one thing I want to say to sort of tie this together, in case you guys got more you want to say, is I really yearn for the old days of more whiskey trolls. So I'm a guy that came up in the era of being trolled by a lot of people, and I kind of think that was healthy. And now I'm watching what happens locally, especially with what people are doing with bottles, and it's a wild west out there. People are like, oh, this bottle has a scratched label, I'll give you $30 less, or I'll give you $50 less. Dumb. And then the other thing that happened is when Buffalo...
Kroger Georgetown, though.
Scratching all the labels. The other dumb thing I'm seeing, too, is so a bottle will be worth X amount of money, and just because Buffalo Trace releases it, one person will post it for whatever the market value is, and all these people will jump on and be like, loser, that released at the distillery today. And I want to jump on there and be like, hey, y'all shut up. All you just need to stop. You're showing how new you are right now. I once was showing how new I was. And did you know Kenny's an admin of an important group? It's out there.
I wouldn't say it's important, but
he's an admin of what does Buffalo Trace have today, and he had to throw the smackdown the other day because of whiskey trolls, right?
No, it's
what was it?
People are crazy.
Can you talk about it, or you can't? I mean, that was a transition I had to make into talking, and you got to watch out if you're on those places.
Oh, no. One of my buddies started that group several years ago, and it just kind of got away from what it was intended to, and too many people were complaining on there.
Right.
They started talking about the admins and not doing things, and we're like, hang on, there's 75,000 people in this group. 75,000 people.
Yeah.
What is Bourbon Junkies group, 30,000?
I think so, yeah.
There's 75,000 people in this group. None of us make a penny.
None of us.
We don't have anything to, we have our full-time jobs.
Right.
No people are crying and complaining that their comments aren't going through and need to do a better job. And do you think we could care? Do you think we're actually stopping your comments from going through? This is like an auto Facebook thing. So I just started ban about 70, 80 people in the last couple of days, and it just made it a lot quieter in there.
I mean, just, hearing the name of the group, I don't know what is there to complain about.
Right,
Because all you're
exactly.
getting yourself is secondhand.
I know.
You're like, oh, Joe Smo says I have this today. Okay.
You're logging
done.
on. Yeah, you're logging on there to find out what people
Simple
have.
as that, man.
Yeah.
The funniest thing, though, is while Kenny and I are friends, and I didn't even know he was an admin of that group, one day I made fun of the outfit that somebody had on in line that was a picture in what does Buffalo Trace have today, right? So I got tossed from the group.
Nice.
Not by me.
So I'm like, hey, why'd I get tossed? I'm one of the guys that messaged the admins. Why'd I get tossed? They're like, I don't know. Why'd you get tossed? Nobody could tell me why I got tossed. And I didn't even get back in there for legit like 3 or 4 months. I was like, I had to do my time to get back in. So just be careful if you're out there. Always a good time to remind you guys that even if the market is down a little bit and the bubble's not bursting, if you do anything in online, make sure you trust who you're dealing with. And don't fall for any scams, because the scammers are still out there hardcore, even though I think they're moving on to other things like chips and servers and other things that are more valuable now.
For wrestling figures.
Wrestling belts.
Hey, it was a really nice belt.
I'm sure it was.
It arrived in good condition, and now I have a pair of my tag team titles, so I'm really excited about that.
Why don't you wear it next time?
I am going to bring them down here for when we record. If we ever get video going, those titles are going to have to be prominently featured, so that'd be good.
So, Anthony.
Yes, sir.
I heard we have another review.
Oh, CC, we have another review, and I have to be able to get my phone off the lock mode so I can read it. All right, so this review comes to us from Nick Holmer, and this was left for us on 1/25/25. And the title of this review on Apple Podcasts was Inspirational and Fun Bourbon Whiskey Talk. So he said heard you guys needed some reviews and thought I'd hop on that. Love listening to your podcast each week. I'm part of the Whiskey Mishaps podcast with Jesse L., John S., Turner S., and Kate M., and your show's been a big inspiration for us. Listening to different reviews and blinds always gets me pumped up to do the same with the guys and enjoy some good pours as we laugh and talk about life. Bourbon is a great way to keep people connected, and you guys have really helped enhance that for us. Would love to one day meet up and glean some whiskey and podcasting knowledge from you guys, the experts. Ooh. Cheers, and looking forward to future episodes. And again, that was Nick from Whiskey Mishaps, a 5-star review. And man, thank you. What can I say?
Experts, huh?
Experts. That's going to toss that around there lightly.
He must have been drinking when he wrote that.
Yeah. No, I wanted to say, these guys have been big supporters of ours from the beginning.
Yeah, cool dudes.
They're good guys, and I do listen to their podcast every now and again. They don't release weekly like we do, but I think they're located in different places, so I don't think it's as easy for them to get together. But again, goes without saying, we said it before when Jesse's left, and I think one other guy left one too. It's cool to think that we have, something that's of value to them, and that's kind of what we're trying to create. So we just appreciate that feedback, and thank you very much for that.
Greatly appreciate it.
And if you would like to leave a review,
I thought you were going to say something. That's why
you can do so
No.
on Apple,
Spotify,
YouTube,
Amazon,
bathroom stall,
or pigeon carrier.
boom.
Boom.
These guys, you guys are great. Oh, fantastic. Very good.
So, boys, for this week, I think we have a trio of things.
Yes.
That's 3.
That's trio.
Thrice.
Trace.
Trace.
Thrice.
All
All right. I'm kind of excited about tonight, though.
Yeah. So
Because it kind of falls into what we talked about earlier.
it does, and we're going to get back to that. So what we have for you tonight is we're taking a trip up to the north, to Michigan to be exact.
It's cold.
Yeah, it's cold.
Gummies.
And we have 3 bottles from EverNorth Spirits, which is the distillery, if you will, or the NDP that is run by our good friends the Bourbon Junkies, Dan and Sean. And so I'm going to go through quick bottle specs on the 3 samples that we're going to taste tonight, and then we'll talk more about those guys and what they're doing. The first one we have is an EverNorth Essence Single Barrel. Obviously from EverNorth Spirits. The bottle date is 2024. The ABV is 65. Proof is 130. The mash bill on this is 74% corn, 16% rye, and 10% malted barley. The MSRP, I believe, is around $75. We also have some samples that came to us from, is it Adam Lamb? Is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah, Lamb.
Lamb. And he sent us a sample of Night Stalker, which is, we'll talk about more about their brand and how they've fashioned some of these. It looks like it's 6 and 8 year old MGP and 4 and 6 year old Sagamore Spirit blended together, and that's 59% ABV or 118 proof. And the other sample that he sent us, so gracious, very nice of him to do that, is a store pick for Rishi's International Beverage in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Near as I could tell, it's a double oaked MGP rye at 114 proof or 57% ABV. And I think this might be Spirit Walker, because we'll talk about that here in a moment. But Spirit Walker and Night Stalker are two things under one wing of their brand that mean or denote different things that they're doing. So they have different series of bottles for each thing that they're doing. So those are the bottles that we got tonight. So we got one of the bottles right there. What do you guys think of the design?
Well, the first thing I noticed is how dark it is.
Yeah, it's super dark.
How dark the whiskey is.
Yeah.
So not onto the design yet. When I pick this up, I'm like, holy crap, you cannot see through the bottle.
Yeah, like definitely much darker than what we tasted on Tuesday, the Bullet Bib.
And this is 6 years old.
So it's younger.
It's younger, darker.
And darker.
And it's 20 shades darker.
No, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I've got a couple of their bottles. I should have pulled the other ones out. But yeah, so this is they have what would that bottle shape be, like a E.H. Taylor style?
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's a Taylor shape with the little flare on the neck here.
That is E.H. Taylor, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice. That design, so this is the single barrel. We're looking at the Essence bottle, and that's got the bear on the front of it, the bear barrel.
Barrel bear.
Yeah, it's pretty cool and unique the way that they themed this series. Essence has the bear, and then it has American whiskey, which is the wolf, and then it has rye whiskey, which is the, let me see here, I can't remember. Rye is the bull. And so if you see Essence, this kind of bottle that we're talking about, the one we have in front of us, that denotes their single barrel series, those three different variations of it: bourbon, rye, and American whiskey. The wolf, the bear, and the bull. Pretty unique label. I mean, I kind of want to say this. It kind of looks almost like a comic book kind of label in a good way. It looks
like the barrel bear has like a kung fu wrap around his head.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. No, it's cool because
it is cool.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got to find a unique selling point in the way it looks. And I don't know Dan and Sean super well at all. When we recorded them at the one time, met them one other time. Steven, you met them up at the Blue Run event too. Remember that?
Yeah.
And Kenny's hung out with them, of course. We'll talk more about that in a second. But even not knowing them well, I'd love to know if they're like into comics and stuff like that. If that's anything in their background, if it's just like kind of what they came up with.
Well, I think not knowing much, I would think it's kind of the essence of the Upper Midwest in a way.
Oh,
a little outdoorsy. You got the bear. They have an animal for each version. It's almost like the Game of Thrones of bourbon. And
nice. I like it. Oh man, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I mentioned just a second ago the Essence single barrel, the three characters, and they also have Omen, which is their other part or their other series, and that consists of the Night Stalker, which is blended whiskeys, and the Spirit Walker, which is usually blended and finished whiskeys. So that's how they have those two separated. And what's interesting, if you look on their website, they talk about we'll blend literally anything from big distilleries or not big distilleries, wherever they're sourcing their barrels from across the country. So you can get really unique blends that chances are you're not going to get in a lot of other places. That's kind of their selling point. And the other thing before we get to nosing here is what I really, really like about their approach, and something they said when we interviewed them on our podcast, is like, we're whiskey guys. We came up as whiskey consumers and people that are in the influence market. We don't want to sell you something that we wouldn't pay for. So they're very price conscious as well, which I think bodes well for their hopefully the longevity of their product, right? Mm-hmm. Because they're thinking about that stuff. I mean, River Roots was like that too. I mean, Ryan Lentz said that to us, where he was like, I kind of want to think about how I came up and what I would pay for things. And so I like the fact that these guys that are in the influence market for years are are starting these companies and they're thinking about that, because not only are they going to select good product, but they're also thinking about the price, which is great.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, honestly, like I went up there with Alves last year. We came up for, I think it was their grand opening or just a release of a bottle or whatever it was. I don't think it was grand opening. But just, I mean, I tried 8 to 10 different things, and I mean, it was all just unique, good, interesting. Some was better than others. But again, nothing was like way overpriced, and most everything was dark and flavorful. And just, you know, they are not distilling themselves.
Right.
They are sourcing. But in today's market, with the barrel prices down, they can now buy, you know, barrels even cheaper than what they were, you know, a couple years ago. But this is just one of those unique ones. And just to go back on, you know, we talked a little bit last week about our best of blinds.
Right.
And including our own picks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, this is a Hurano pick.
Oh, that's right.
So this one is a Hurano pick.
Forgot to mention that.
But it's one of those things, like we talked about, you're not going to in general, you're not going to walk into the regular traditional store and find some of the very best tasting things that you're going to taste all year just sitting there on the shelf. This is one of those ones. This is a really short barrel. Sold out very quickly. It's 6 years old, but it's darker than most 20-year-old bourbons.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, Heaven Hill's 18-year is still 1/3 the color of this. You know, it's crazy.
You mentioned it was a Hoot Rhino pick. I did message Alves and asked him a little bit about it. He did tell me this came from Green River.
Yeah,
that's the original source of the distillate.
Yeah.
And I guess they don't sign an NDP or whatever on this, so it's fine to say that. But I think that's pretty unique. And he said, as far as he knows, this mash bill of Green River is not being used very widely.
Yeah.
So that's another cool, unique thing.
So Alves and Jordan went up to Michigan. Dan and Sean had messaged them, and they got a bunch of barrels in from different places.
Right.
And there was one that was, I think, even darker than this. And then there was this one. And they're like, man, you got to come up and taste some of this. Pick a barrel. It's like that good. So Ryan and Jordan went. I was not able to go. I could not get off work that day. Plus, I wasn't invited. But
I was about to say we weren't invited either.
But
thanks a lot.
This one and this other one you talked about were just silly. So that's one of those things. This is just one of those one-offs, man. So it's like if you went and picked 20 Green River barrels, you're not going to find 20 just like this. I mean, it's one of those things, and that's what we talk about. You know, in your local area, you know, talk to your liquor stores that are doing picks, talk to your groups that are doing picks, and you all can run across stuff like this as well. Where just that one-off barrel that's like, wow, you know. And
I'm sure that if you are in a market where they can get you serviced, if you wanted to reach out to them, I'm sure they could set you up with something. I mean, they probably got a pretty big list.
And I was talking about just in general. So I mean, it could just be a Four Roses pick. It could be an anybody pick. I'm just saying sometimes just that one-off barrel.
I'm just trying to create a lot of traffic for Dan and Sean. I field emails from people. Can I come pick a barrel?
Yeah, they're gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna appreciate those phone calls.
Yeah.
I know.
So you're saying it's still available?
Yeah.
They have cases of it laying around.
It's cases laying around.
Basically becoming Dusties.
They have 10 barrels just like this.
Yeah.
Opposite of everything Kenny just said.
And that's right. On that same weekend was when we did that bourbon in the barn up there. So that was their big event. So
yeah,
it was like a Thursday or Friday. We went to, I think it was Thursday. Went to an event at their distillery. Then it was the bourbon in the barn weekend. But yeah, it was a great time. It was a fun time.
Should we go for first nosing on these?
Yeah,
absolutely. There's a lot of talking before we got there. We just had a lot to say.
That was just strong, bro. It's just thick.
Yeah.
And on this one that Ryan picked, that's his traditional Fat Boy whiskey right there with molasses.
Man, that middle one is really nice.
The middle one? You're right, man. On the Rhino pick, molasses is a really good descriptor.
Oh.
Yeah, the nose on the middle one's good. Oh, on that one?
Steven just knows the Rhino.
Yeah. I think it was only $65, $70 too for that. Crazy.
So how do we pour this again? What was in the far left glass? Is Night Stalker?
Far left is Night Stalker. Middle one is the Rishi's.
The double oak thing. Okay, Rishi's.
Dude, that Rishi's nose is great.
That is really good.
Night Stalker nose doesn't have much on it, from what I'm nosing.
Yeah.
But the Rishi's one's got a great nose.
It's funny you said that because I was getting a little bit self-conscious of the small Glens over here. And I was like, why aren't I smelling anything in this? But you're right, the Night Stalker one doesn't have a bold nose on it compared to the other two.
You can get different glasses too. I was just trying to, mix it up.
You're just trying to limit my intake. I know what you're doing.
The Thimble Glen.
Yeah. Thimble
Glen.
I got to go in and taste these, man.
Yeah.
The nose is too good. Dude, this Rishi's one, man, the nose is so unique.
Oh, it's really good. The nose is amazing.
I think I'm gonna taste that one first.
Which one are you liking over there?
I've only tried the one. I only tried the Rishi's one, but that is 114 proof of 0 ethanol, 0 bite. I mean, just 0.
What do you see here?
It's flavor.
Wow, it's got like a
Marshmallowy double oak.
Marshmallow and are you getting a little bit of almost like a raisin too?
I did not get raisin, but that does not mean it's not there. I don't have the best descriptors on that.
Like a juicy raisin?
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't think it drinks a little hotter than it is, the 114?
I think it's very viscous.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like the proof goes, I don't feel it in my chest or my throat, either one. So to me, it drinks right on par for its proof. But it's so rich, but it's so viscous that I think it like lends itself to being higher proof because it's like it just makes sure it coats your whole entire mouth.
Yeah, I mean it's on my tip of my tongue a lot.
Yeah,
that's what it is. So if you take the weird thing about the second one is there's a little bit of the oak characteristic in it is a little bit younger, to me anyway, but it does have like taking like a marshmallowy, like you said, like a toasted marshmallow flavor with like fruit. In fact, I've only tasted the first two. The first one, spicy, fruity. I'm getting a lot of fruit on both of the first two, which is really interesting. But the toasted nature of the second one with that marshmallowy, gooey. I don't know. Did you guys ever make that marshmallow dip that goes with fruit? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about, right? The whipped marshmallow thing. There you go.
And they do a lot of double oaking up there, I believe, double barreling.
Right.
And some of the stuff I had when I went to their event, was just honestly a little bit too oaky. But they're playing around with stuff, and what everybody likes is different anyway. What people enjoy.
Right.
But that's flavorful, man.
Yeah, it's got a lot of flavor.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm leaving the Who Rhino till last because I just want to experience that for what it's worth.
Yeah, Night Stalker's fruity, and there's an underline that I know what it is, but that's not coming to me. I gotta go back.
It has a nice spice finish though, like a spicy finish, like it kicks up in the end.
What is that underline in there?
Is it a fruit that's coming through on the underside?
I think so. I think it's a fruit. I can't remember what the mash bill is, but like Sagamore makes one of Alvez's favorite whiskey. I think it's like a 52% rye, maybe, or something.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that's what this is in Night Stalker. I'm just saying I just saw Sagamore on the thing there, and it reminded me of that.
Yeah, and while we're sipping, I want to remind our listeners that if you're interested in hearing about Essence, Bourbon Junkies, in their own words, go back and listen to the episode that we did with Bruce Russell and Alves and the Junkies. They talked about their brand. They talked about getting their start. Of course, we're talking about them like you all know who they are, but they started a YouTube channel in 2019. Mm-hmm. And it quickly ascended to, primo content where people were hooked. They're at a place right now where they have 33 million views across their 1.2K videos.
Nice.
So that's they've got to be. I know that Dan was very quick to say when I said, "Aren't you guys the top channel out there?" He went, "No," because they're very humble. He was like, "No way." He's like, he named a couple others. I mean, I think Bruzel was one of them, and others where he said, "No, they got more than we do." But we got a lot.
And they have an incredibly loyal and just die for you fan base. I mean, they are, because they although there's a few things that I'll taste maybe that I'll disagree with them on something.
Right.
They are 100% just true to. I mean, they aren't fluffing. Mm-hmm. They're just not. They just don't do that. And they love whiskey. Like, they're actually into whiskey. Like, they truly, you can tell, they aren't just doing videos for clicks. And I mean,
right.
they truly love whiskey. I've hung out with them multiple times, sat and drank, and it's just, and truly enjoy whiskey.
Right. Yeah. So you've had the most experience with them, but you can tell there's definitely an authenticity there that it's real, and that's what people like about them. And the funniest thing is I may have said this before, but I thought I was tickled by this. When I went to record with them, I had met them the same day you did, Stephen, at Blue Run. Mm-hmm. And Dan remembered me, but Sean didn't. And so afterwards, I don't know if Dan said something like you've met him before or whatever, but Sean came back and I was like, "Hey, I'm so sorry." He's like, I know I've met you before. I'm sorry that like I acted like, and I'm like, dude, you don't have to know who I am. I'm a nobody. Like, you're the guy. You know what I mean? And so it was funny that he was nice enough to say that. And then, of course, I tried some of their whiskeys that night, but that night we were trying some ridiculous stuff. So nothing stood out and that day. But, I mean, it wasn't like we were trying to focus on their stuff. We were drinking all kind of bangers that day, stuff that was just stuff, that I'd never tasted before. Probably never taste again. But anyway.
Although that Night Stalker is good, that actual Rishi's pick, dude, like you could crush a whole entire bottle of that. Mm-hmm. That would be, you open that bottle and you accidentally realize you drink 3/4 of it.
Yeah.
That is wild.
It's hard to put down and not completely finish it.
Yeah.
To go through the numbers. That was what we're doing here.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Fortunately, these are not 2025 releases.
Right.
So we don't have to score these. But wow, those are good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even a Rhino pick, I asked him, I said, when did that come out? It was December 2024, so.
Ooh, was it?
Yeah, that's what he said. So it was December.
I'm about to look at that. I don't know about that.
Well, that's what.
I don't think. I thought this was a 2025 release.
Oh, well, he said it was 24. December 24 is what he said.
Score it, and just in case.
Okay, all right. The plot thickens.
I just got my bottle like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
So, I don't know.
Could have just been at the warehouse, just sitting around.
I know they sold out. He just got me one of his personal bottles. But
Oh, okay.
I mean, BT just put out 2019 handy, so
it's true.
Where is all this stuff coming from?
I'll tell you what's wild, though. Anybody in at least the Lexington area, I don't know anything else about all throughout the United States, but in the Lexington area now that actually BT did switch distributors, it is crazy how much more Buffalo Trace or actually Sazerac stuff is actually hitting the stores as compared to what it was under the previous distributor. It's crazy.
Now, Anthony, you maybe call me crazy,
Okay.
but I'm sipping on this third one we have here.
Yep.
And does it not taste like a really good, like, darker beer?
Dude.
Not like
Dude, no. Wait a minute.
like the heaviness of it.
So, this is crazy. I feel like I'm having a resurgence of I've mentioned beer a couple episodes ago, and something tasting like beer. So there is what's it called? Like when you have
The porter? No, wait.
a porter, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a roasted, or you have something that's a hoppy stout.
Yeah, stout.
That has there's also black IPAs, which aren't
that
really,
has that coffee.
Yeah, that coffee
little bit of
roasted.
coffee.
It's
Yeah.
roasted. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. It tastes like it's roasted a little bit.
Just on the top of it.
Yep.
And it brings a lightness to the bottle
Yep.
that it's really, really good.
Light and airy. It reminds me of, I'm thinking of Victory Beer, Yakima Glory, black IPA. They don't make it anymore.
Okay. Did you not share that with me?
I may have.
Okay.
I don't know if I had any bottles stashed. And it's funny, the beer nerds would go, that beer's not good. That's why it's not made anymore. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But yeah, there's man, that's delicious.
So you're getting this kind of the same thing off of it?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know what Kenny's getting, but yeah, it's got it's almost like, so.
It's not a hoppy or anything.
It's not
just,
hoppy.
It's just the darkness of a porter on the top.
And then it comes like airy in the finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
I just can't believe it's 135 proof.
Oh,
I can't either.
Are you serious?
No, there's no way that's 135 proof.
Didn't it? Or am I bad? No, 130 proof. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well,
130 proof.
I would have thought it was a 110.
I know.
Man.
No, this is 100. So this is 6 years old, 130 proof,
Brown sugar. Toasted brown sugar.
and is one of the best things I've tasted in 2025.
There you go. That
Like,
is.
that's
if
serious.
if that's
It's a
2025.
$65 bottle.
Oh my gosh.
I'm saying that I've tasted in 2025.
Okay.
But
Yeah. Oh, yeah, me too.
I'm saying, but it's 6 years old, and $65 bottle is absolutely wild.
I want to run
Forget
it back.
forget the price. I mean, it's awesome.
It's crazy.
Let me put
How
the
many-
price in there.
There wasn't any, there probably wasn't many of those. How many was there? Short barrel.
I think there's less than 100.
Wow.
So that means that Ryan's not coming off any of those, if he has any.
I think those actually sold through Bourbon Outfitter too.
Oh,
I
wow.
just didn't realize it.
Can
Yeah.
you can you bend a case real quick?
No, they're long gone. Yeah, long gone.
Use code mashup.
Yeah, I wish.
Man, yeah, don't forget to use the code when you buy products from Bourbon Outfitter. That helps us out. So,
It'll get you a discount and helps us a little bit both.
yeah. If you are planning a trip to the great state of Michigan, I do want to note that they do have a tasting room. It's at 1100 Rockwell Drive in Freeland, Michigan. And the tasting room hours are Thursdays, Fridays, and first and last Saturdays of the month, and they have hours on their website. I wanted to mention that because I think it's important that people know there is a place they can go. It isn't just their YouTube channel and them releasing products. People can actually go there if they're fans. They want to go and taste stuff. I know River Roots has a similar setup. I'm mentioning them because we've been to their tasting room, but they have limited hours as well. And so, go see Dan and Sean. I don't know why, but when I see those guys in person and when I watch them in their videos, for some reason the Beastie Boys Sabotage song is like, it's not because they're doing anything weird. It just seems like that's the vibe that I get from them, like slightly chaotic, but like really nice and like fun loving, and I get that matches the stories that they told about the trouble they got in when they were in Lexington the one time too. So I mean, it's just
that was a great episode though, man.
That was a great episode, but
that was an awesome episode.
Yeah, they're just authentic, genuine guys. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. And
then to separate out, so they have their own Bourbon Junkies Facebook page,
right?
But they do have their own EverNorth Spirits page,
right? That
is more it's just strictly about their own bottles, their own releases. It's not about stuff they do for the channel and the reviews and all that stuff. So that's some good information as well on that Facebook group that talks about what upcoming releases they might have, what they're going to have at the tasting bar. And Brandon.
Brandon Sprague.
Yeah, Brandon's awesome. I actually met him and his dad both. Great dudes, man. Really good guys.
So Brandon's the guy that runs the tasting room and does product innovation stuff with them. So
he does a lot of the blending, I believe, as well.
Yeah, blending.
Does, all that stuff.
I think he's the person on the Facebook page too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Brandon, man. Brandon's cool.
Best of 2024. Not this bottle, but the bottle that was in there, which was an LTO, which I think is one of their more expensive bottles at around $100. That placed top 25?
It was still in the top 25.
Top 25.
And that was compared to everything.
Right.
Like literally everything.
Is this better than that? This pick bottle?
I would have to try them side by side, man.
I would too, but I mean, that's a dang good pick, man.
That's a good bottle. I just wondering how it compared to what you guys had in the top for last year.
I know I joke a lot. I promise I didn't pour a lot, but I do want a little bit of extra of that, if that's okay, Kenny.
That's great. I poured this one heavy.
Yeah, I didn't.
Because I actually had this about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And that's when I bought a bottle. But so that's why I poured a little heavy on that one.
Just wanted a little bit more because it's delicious.
It's good.
So
you filled that glass 3/4 of the way up, dog.
I did. How much?
It's right to the belly.
That's less than an ounce still.
All right, so I'm going to go through and start marking glasses. 1/4 ounce, 1/2 ounce, 3/4 ounce. That's what I'm going to get.
That's not even an ounce. Is that an ounce?
I'm messing with you.
I was going to say.
That's way more than an ounce. But
is it?
But as much as you want.
There's no way. This is a 4-ounce glass.
No.
How many ounces is it?
It's probably a 2-ounce glass.
It's a 2-ounce
It's a little glass.
Yeah, so you poured almost an ounce. That's fine.
I poured less than an ounce than if it's a 2-ounce glass. So delicious that I wanted some more.
Oh, it's good, man.
That's really good.
Yeah, Ryan and Jordan did a good job on that one.
Yep.
Ready?
I think so. You ready to get going here?
Yep.
All right.
So, fellas, would you pass, try, or buy on this trio of sips?
Well, are we going to go one by one here?
Left or right?
Yeah.
I mean, can.
Okay. Kenny, I think Kenny's going to be a clean sweep on.
Well, I mean, none of these are available.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would be a buy on the middle two for sure. On the middle and the right one. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was going left to right in my head.
He was lost in the moment.
Yeah. So the middle one, and then this Rhino pick, I would definitely be a buy. The Night Stalker, I would need to see. I mean, I thought it was really good. As long as it's $100 or less, to me, it's a buy.
Right.
Talking about the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's $100 or less, it's a buy.
I agree with you. The middle and the right, I'm definitely a buy. And right now, I'm just a try on the first one.
Yeah.
But I just need more in it, more knowledge about it.
Like, if I'm comparing all three of these together.
Yeah.
And if, I would probably be a try on the Night Stalker and a buy on the other two.
Yeah.
But if I just had the one on the left by itself and I found out it was $100 or less, then I would still buy it.
You just went against some heavy hitters tonight, didn't you?
Yeah, it did, man.
Yeah. If this helps at all, I was looking back at my text with Ryan, and he said all their stuff is between $55 and $80.
Jeez.
with their yearly LTO being about $100. He said most of their picks are $65.
So a Night Stalker, even if it's an LTO, it might be $100 at the most. Then
I don't even know that it is. If it is, and it's $100, but still,
wow.
Like, yeah. So,
Gosh,
I'm buying all three.
yeah.
yeah. I was going to say if I had to be picky, I would pick on number 1, the Night Stalker, a little bit, just because. You know, it's funny. You guys would pick on number 1. I could find things with 1 and 2 that I could pick on, but not anything that I would pick on enough to not want to buy them. And then I don't
know if there's anything on 1 I would really pick hard on.
Yeah, it's got like a really nice fruity. I think the through note, that undertone that you're talking about, might be like a licorice undertone. Actually,
Maybe licorice.
You think?
I think
No, I didn't
black
get that. I
licorice.
would have not liked it if it was licorice.
really, I think it was very subtle, like a very, very subtle.
I've been trying to figure out what the undertone fruit is. The undertone note is.
Yeah, it might be. I'm not sure. That's what I got anyway. But I like that. So it's not going to be anything that I mean, I like them all. I mean, we have to rate the Rhino, though. Do we have to rate it just in case?
I would rate the Rhino in case it's a 2025 release.
Boom. I'm going to give it an 8.
8?
Yes.
Okay. That's actually right in the range that I was going to be. I was going to say 8 as well. I don't know what Kenny's going to say. But, I mean, for me, I told all of the listeners this, 7.5 is a strong score for me.
Yeah.
So an 8 is a good score.
It's a good pour.
Yeah, that's a good pour. It's really nice.
And I'm, gosh,
I can't believe it's 130 proof.
I know. And that's what.
I mean, it drinks 110, but there's no ethanol at all in it,
Right.
which is
It's
wild.
got a tiny bit of it's like
Ron said multiple times, man, some of the best juice coming out, especially on the younger level or lately, has been Green River.
right.
It doesn't matter whether you're buying it from Green River picks directly or somebody else sourcing from them. It's just, they've had some good stuff.
The other thing that is really weird to explain to listeners is it almost has a little bit of a salty like characteristic to
That's
it.
interesting.
Yeah, like a tiny bit.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that, it's I'm thinking of the Four Roses pick that we had, the liquor box one that we were all on. Sometimes that reminds me of like a salty plum flavor. The OBSK, the one that we all did, that we had a blast on.
Yeah.
So I get a little bit of that backbone too with the oak. So
I won 8.25, so y'all can't outdo me.
8.25. There you go.
I was borderline 8.5, and then once y'all said 8, I took it down quarter point.
Yeah, no.
But no, that's good.
Actually,
Very
Kenny,
good.
my first initial, what came in my head
Was 8.5?
Was 8.25.
8.25.
Yeah, was my first thing, and then
That's good.
I put it
man.
in 8.
The thing is, like, all right, well, here's the thing. If you look back at our scores, I scored the Elkwood a 7. So my guess, honestly, I could probably go this 8.75, really, because I mean, I just think it was that much better than the Elkwood. But
Right.
you know, I'll just stay at 8.25.
I got Elkwood at 7.5, right? Yep. So that means this. You said this is the best thing you've tasted in 2025.
Yeah, it is, man.
Yeah.
That's good.
Boom.
Shakalaka. And with that, thanks for listening to this episode. Please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Mashup KY.
Don't forget to visit our partner, bourbonoutfitter.com. Enter code The Mashup for a special discount.
Also,
Head on over to our partner, the Woodwork Collective, at woodworkcollective.shop. Enter code MASHUP for a 15% discount.
let us know your thoughts on the bottom in the comment section. Until next time, keep it neat.